Hey, I'm training to be a championship cuber and documenting the process. If you're new here, every single week, I make a training plan for how I'm going to work on cubing, log all of it in a spreadsheet, then make a video like this where I talk about what happened the last week and how I'm going to train or improve the next week. My long-term goal is to make the finals at a major championship for everything from 3x3 up to 7x7 by the end of 2031, which is like 5 more years to work on this goal. Today's video, I'm going to recap what happened last week, including my training and a competition where I got several really nice PRs, and then what I'm going to improve on next week. Next competition's coming up in 2 weeks, See Me Mini. It's a half-day competition, but it'll have 3 rounds of 3x3 and then 2 rounds of 2x2 and one-handed. The one I really care about is 3x3. Sponsored by thecubicle.com. Use code TRUE at checkout for 5% off to support me in my journey. All right, so what did I do last week? Well, at home, I did a good number of solves, especially on 3x3. I did a lot of slow solves for 3x3. For every hour of solving I did on 3x3, I probably did about 30 to 40 minutes of slow solves for 3x3. So a lot of slow solves not reflected in this graph. I worked on 7x7 a decent amount. I messed around with my hardware and finally got my 7x7 to a good spot, which I'll talk about that in a little bit. And on 6x6, I got my first sub-2 average of 12, which felt pretty solid. So big cubes, I'm seeing slow and steady improvement, especially with the derust on 7x7. 3x3, I was very consistent last week, right in the low 10, average of 50 most of the week. Although I noticed a lot of inconsistency with my times. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I had a competition this last weekend, and it was a really interesting day. I double PR'd in 3x3. My average was 10.03, so not quite sub 10, but still really solid. Let me show you this video here, and I have speed controls on, so it's a little bit fast. But things looked really good. This first solve I was very happy with. It was a full step 739. I won't show the whole average on this video. It's over on my second channel, Brandon False. You can go watch that yourself if you're interested. But I was very, very happy with this average. I was pretty nervous, but I tried to stay really, really loose for the average. I put on like Mario Kart music while I was in the waiting area just to feel kind of goofy and like a kid. And it worked really well to keep me like in a non-serious headspace. I care enough about cubing that I'll be serious, so I need to do whatever I can to make myself more relaxed or less serious. Another huge unlock at this competition was I realized posture is everything. So the chairs at this competition were atrocious. They were like the cheapest, crummiest metal folding chairs ever. They were really, really low to the ground. What that meant is the gap between the chair and the table was extremely big. I knew that at most competitions, the chairs were lower than I like and the tables are higher than I like, but it was really bad at this competition. So my wife and I, over lunch break, we ran out to a few different shops and we found a seat cushion. Like this is the seat cushion I used at a nearby store. So what I did is I put the seat cushion on my chair sideways so that this little gap in the seat cushion was on the left or right side of the chair. And then I crossed one of my legs underneath me so that I was sitting on my leg, which funny enough, that's how I'm sitting right now. It's very comfortable for me. And what that did is it gave me probably an extra 3-4 inches of height versus sitting just normal on the chair. And that took my posture from being very uncomfortable and super low in relation to the table to like above the table and very, very comfortable. It also made me feel way more comfortable. And that posture change, I got to practice during around a square one and around a 2x2, which were both really chill. So going into the 3x3 round, I was used to sitting on this cushion, setting it up, getting my weird like cross my legs posture. And it was amazing. I felt so much more free to turn well. I felt so much less distracted. It was great. So I'm really happy I found this. I don't like this cushion very much. It doesn't fit on folding chairs very well. It's a little bit too big width-wise, and it's not thick enough. It's very, very squishy. I got my height from sitting on my foot, like crossing my leg underneath me and sitting on it, which I've seen several other fast people do. I've seen Ezra Shear do it for Pyraminx. I've seen James McDermott do it for blind solving, and so it's a known thing. But I've ordered a couple of thicker cushions that are made of a firmer foam online. Those will be getting here soon, and then I'll experiment with those and see if those help with my posture. But after this competition, I realized that optimizing those little pieces of the competitive game, how you sit, your mindset, the music you listen to before, matter a lot. And this last week or two was when there was a controversy with Keon Wilson in the Southeast region where he asked for an extra and didn't get it. And now there's all this discussion about, well, distractions shouldn't really warrant an extra. So my mindset as a competitor is basically I want to be as good as I can at competing, even if there are distractions, so that I'm never in the situation where I want an extra and can't get it. Like, I'm not here to talk about the regulations, but instead to basically say, I want to optimize everything I can about how I compete so that I can be as good as possible on competition day. And this posture optimization is just one of those ways. Another thing I realized, I mentioned this a second ago, is that when I'm relaxed, when I'm having fun, that's when my nerves are at their best point. Like, I'm actually in the best mental frame when I'm not ultra serious. I'm in the best mental frame when I'm goofing off and having fun, when I'm listening to Mario Kart music, talking to the other guys in the waiting area, when I'm doing a whole bunch of events in the same day and I care equally about all of them so I'm not over-invested in any one thing. That's when my nerves are at the best spot. Wow, big yawn. And at the same time, my brain is focused and sharp and able to perform well. So that's another unlock this competition is don't try and be the ultra serious competitor. Go in there and have fun. Dominic Radici told me that's how he did so well at the World Championship this year, is he was just having a good time, and then the results also came as well. So that's a competition thing. Slow cubes. I am a slow cube believer now. So for a lot of weeks, ever since I got back to cubing from like October to end of December, I was using very fast puzzles. I was using a Weilong V11 and it was set up super fast. It was the maglev version. And I'd never solved on an ultra fast cube like that before, but I wanted to experiment with it because I knew all the young up and coming kids were solving on ultra fast cubes. And I tried it and I was kind of liking it, but it was a little inconsistent. I locked up quite a bit. So I switched from an ultra fast Weilong V11 to now using a thick angstrom setup, Super RS3 MV5, or RS3 MV5, not Super. It's the RS3 MV5 ball core with the UV coating, and it's super amazing. It's very thick lubricant. It's quite slow compared to any of my other modern 3x3s, and it's now my absolute favorite cube that I own. I have 3 more RS3 MV5s sitting in my drawer that are in the box, so I'm gonna make a video testing different slow setups on them and trying to find like what I like. But the slow setup did so well for me under pressure. I had no fidgeting, I had no lockups, I had no overturning. It responded well, because when I'm nervous, having a nice firm cube that I have to turn, it just works. It also works better for me at home. A slightly slower cube means that the layers are moving at just a slower speed than I would turn on a fast cube, which allows me to look ahead so much better. Lots of yawns today. So I am a slow cube believer now. Angstrom setup is the way. I've never liked angstrom, and now that I've broken in an angstrom cube over a couple thousand solves, I'm like hardcore on team slow controllable setup. Even though cubes all seem to be moving toward lightweight and fast, I'm happy to pilot a controllable heavy slow cube. This is another thing that I've been thinking about with 3x3, and it's training it more like a powerlifter and less like a bodybuilder or endurance athlete. So here's what I mean. In powerlifting, a powerlifter's goal is for a single repetition to lift the absolute heaviest weight they possibly can, like deadlift 600 pounds or something crazy like that. That one full force attempt is the goal. In order to get as strong as possible at that one attempt, you can't subject your body to that maximum load very much because it puts a lot of stress on your body. You can really only do that once in a while. So how do you get better? Well, you do accessory exercises where if you're deadlifting, you're going to train your quads and your hamstrings and your glutes and your lower back and your grip strength. And if you train all those 5 things with different exercises, you can put all that together into a new one. Maybe you'll train the same deadlift movement, but with a lighter weight so that you can refine your technique. Then after like a week or 2, you go back to a full force attempt. The way you get stronger is doing this consistently over time. You make very small gains over like 3-week to a month periods, but if you stick with it for like a few years, that's where you make big jumps in strength. You can't just do the heaviest thing over and over and over again and expect yourself to get faster. I'm talking about this with 3x3. Do I have it on a slide? Nope. Because for me on 3x3, I've noticed that I get tired really, really quickly. So when I sit down for a 3x3 session, I gotta warm up with some slow solves. Then for about 20 solves, I'm solving really, really well. This last week, that meant high 8 to low 9 averages. I have a lot of 9.6, 9.8 averages of 25 in my sessions this last week. Then around 30 solves in, I start petering out really, really hard. My brain gets tired, my look ahead gets way worse because it's not super instinctive yet, and I start to solve in the mid to high 10s, maybe even 11-second range. But what's weird is if I take a break when I hit about 30 solves, so maybe I'll do slow solves for 15 minutes and then solve for 20 minutes. If I take a break for a few hours, come back and do another 35 minutes, 30 minutes later in the day, I get great times again. I have a very limited window where I can operate at full steam and then I have to cool back down. But I can do slow solves for like an hour and it helps my look ahead get a little bit better the whole time. I can drill algs for like an hour, but it's just putting it all together that I can't do very much solving. I don't think that's actually a bad thing. I think I'm learning about myself. This is why just grinding solves over and over again the last 2 weeks, I haven't seen very much improvement. But if I bet that if I train a little bit more like this, like solve very, very little and break it down into its component parts, like learning new algorithms and working on slow solves, and then just do a few focus solves each day, I will consistently see progress over the long term. Talking to Charlie Eggins and Maddie Hiroto Inaba recently, both of them trained way less in a given day than I thought a top cuber would, like rarely cracking an average of 100 in one session. But they both told me that the way you improve is just consistency, putting in the work a good bit each day with focus over a long period of time. And so with 3x3, that's my goal. These last few weeks, I've been learning how to look ahead well. I've been learning the flow chart of where to put my eyes on the cube, top layer, then front slots, then back slots. I've been learning to stop regripping away from home grip in a lot of unnecessary positions, and it's starting to improve. The key for me now is going to be to add new skills into my 3x3 repertoire sooner, so that I can always be learning something, solidifying something, and mastering something. So here's what I mean. When I think about a skill in 3x3, we need to go back to this. Yeah. When I think about skills in 3x3, there's a few different stages to learning those skills. There's the learning stage, which is like, how does OLL work? Let me start memorizing these algorithms. There's the implementing stage, which is where I've just learned algorithms, and now I'm actually trying them in my solves for the first time. There's the solidify stage, where I drill the hardest cases that I'm not doing very well, and it's usable in solves. Like I can go through solves and always nail the technique, but it's getting faster. And then there's the mastery stage, which is like, I know OLL, I can always recognize it, and I'm learning these really specific OLL CP recognition things and optimizing all these niche little finger tricks. That's kind of the progression of how skills work in 3x3 and most cubing events. And my tendency up until now has been to add new skills when whatever the old one I was working on is getting into the mastery level. So right now, like let's say I'm working on inspection and I'm working on inspecting cross plus one. My old instinct would have been, once I really am solid on inspecting cross plus one, I can do it almost every solve. Then I'm gonna go start learning a new thing, like two-side PLL recognition. Then I'm gonna implement it, solidify it, master it, and when I'm almost mastering it, then I'll add a new one. Really, what I should be doing is adding those new skills more like right here, once I've started solidifying an old one. The reason for that is I always want to have new potential improvements coming down the pipeline. Otherwise, I have big chunks of time where I have no potential improvement to my times to be working on, and I'm instead just kind of grinding away at the slow path toward deep mastery in a skill. Improving has, like, you have to have something that gives you potential energy that you can convert into better times. You have to have a new skill that you haven't mastered yet that you're always working on, so that you have something to fuel your times improving. And I have been adding those new ingredients in a little bit too late in my training cycles. Right now, my two things I've been working on for the last 3 weeks, my regripping and my look ahead flow chart, are starting to progress into this solidify territory. I still make mistakes on my regripping, but it's gotten a whole lot better. My look ahead isn't incredible, but it's also pretty solid. My average was really fluid that I got in competition. So I need to keep working on those things. I need to progress them from solidification into the mastery stage. But I also need to add new things into the top of the pipeline so that I can be learning new skills now. Old Brandon wouldn't have wanted to do this yet, but I think I need to add more stuff in. So I think that the next steps for me to optimize is going to be really honing in my last layer. I have a lot of sloppy things I do in my OLL. I've never gone through all my OLLs since I learned them and made sure I'm using really, really good algs for every case. I'm guessing there are 8 to 10 OLLs where I'm using substandard algs or finger tricks. I was sitting with Koi, I forget your last name, Koi. If you're watching this, leave a comment, you're a legend. Super fast solver from Vietnam, he was at the competition. And he was watching me do 3x3 and he was showing me a few different OLLs that I could do. And I was just like, man, I have a lot of substandard OLLs. A couple people messaged me about that after I posted my PR average as well. So I gotta optimize all my OLLs. And then I really need to learn two-side PLL recognition. I'm constantly mixing up my G perms, R perms, and A perms. I'll look at two sides of the cube, do a U move, and then realize, oh shoot, that was the wrong pre-AUF. I need to go the other direction to set up this alg, and then do it. And I think I'm probably losing like 0.3 to 0.6 every solve because my PLL recognition is bad. And once I learn that two-side PLL recognition, then I can go into looking at OLL CP and predicting where headlights or corner permutation will be after OLL, so that my last layer speed gets even like better. But the precursor to that is going to be learning good OLL algorithms and optimizing my two-side PLL recognition. That's a new skill that I can insert at the top of that learning to mastery pipeline, right? That doesn't interfere with my look-ahead skill that's kind of down here, but gives me a new potential thing to be working on and improving in my solves. And I can do that without tiring out my main thing, which is full 3x3 solves. It's like another accessory lift in powerlifting. I can train these algorithms, I can train slow solves for look ahead, and I can do actual 3x3 solves. So I think it's the right next step. 7x7. Okay, I made a video a few days ago basically saying I hate 7x7 hardware and I can't find any good puzzles. Well, at the competition, I tried Kate Graham's 7x7. Kate is very fast. You should look into her stuff if you haven't seen it. Female world record holder for a few big cubes many times. And her 7x7 is the same one as me. She uses an Aofu V5 triple track. It was so much better than mine. It was ridiculous. It was faster, it was cleaner feeling, it corner cut better, and she's put enough solves in on it that the external matte finish had kind of worn off and it felt really shiny and smooth. So I felt that and I realized, dang, I need to get another Aofu stock and just like set it up a little bit more cleanly and give it more time to break in. But the issue with 7x7 is not just the hardware, it's my setups. Another thing I realized is my cube was too loose. I tightened my Aofu like a quarter turn on each side, and the issue of all the layers kind of coming out of alignment completely went away for me. And the cube is way better now. It's still not as good as Kate Graham's or some of the other 7x7s I got to try, but it's closer. So I'm not as unhappy with 7x7 hardware as I was a few days ago. It's still not as good as 6x6 hardware, weirdly enough, but it's serviceable enough where I'm excited to practice on it. Shilling the Cubicle, one more time, sponsored by them. Use code TRUE at checkout for 5% off your order. All right, so what am I going to do next week? Well, I'm going to keep soaking in this gradual improvement at 3x3. I am so happy with my competition. Like, nerves kind of gone from competing. I totally popped a mental barrier. I feel like I am grasping the new concepts that I've tried for the last 2.5 weeks, and I'm ready to add more. I'm very encouraged about my 3x3 now. There's actual progress visible. So not too many solves a day, just like 12 to 25. Optimizing OLLs, fixing two-side PLL recognition, solidifying look-ahead flowchart. Just, do my algorithms at first, then some slow solves, then a few solves each day, and just trust the process on like an hour a day of 3x3. I'm going to put in the hours for 7x7 this week, probably an hour or two a day of that. Really, it's going to be like an hour. Keep breaking in my puzzle, keep honing in the setup. But that's really it. Gradual improvement on 3x3, gradual improvement on 7x7. This will amount to 2.5 to 4 hours a day probably. And I'm very happy with how things went this last week. I'm seeing marginal improvements in everything. And I'm happy with the rate of progression. I think that I'm putting all the fundamentals in place I need in my solutions for big cubes, thanks to the critiques I got from Mark Zimmerman, in my look ahead and fundamentals for 3x3, that if I just keep doing this gradual improvement thing, I'll be in a really good spot in a year or two. That's it for this video. If you have questions or comments for me and my journey, leave them in the comments below. I read everything, and I'm gonna get back to work.